everybody. I'm so excited. I'm in my new studio. I actually have a producer with me, Rob. You want to say hi, Rob?
Well, hi, Christy.
Hi.
Thanks for having me on the show now.
He's my first guest. No, so I want to talk about a lot of different things on this show, and I'm really excited that we're doing it in this format. We're going to be able to do a lot of different things, being in this format, having interviewers, having people call in and be coached. So if you want to be coached by me, we can actually do a show where we either have you come into the studios or we can have you on the phone, and I could do some coaching with you. But one of the things I want to talk about today is letting go. Because a lot of times people feel that if I let something go, like if I let an emotion go, if I do some type of healing, will I make myself open to other people doing the same things to me? So it makes sense as a human being to kind of, stay guarded and not let myself heal so that nobody else can hurt me. Because as a protection, from other people, we don't have saber-toothed lions chasing after us anymore. We don't have a lot of constant threats happening to us physically. But as a human being, psychically, we try to protect ourselves, and we do that by closing off. And so if we've been betrayed or if we've been hurt or, we've been angered in some way, if I let go and I forgive, doesn't that mean I'm going to be then vulnerable and open, right?
I can see that point.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people have a bad perception or misperception about what healing is all about. Because what happens is everything in the universe is energy, right? And ourselves as a human being energy is going to flow. Energy it's always needing some type of movement. It needs to go up and down, in and out. It needs to move. But if we close our hearts or close our minds or even close our power center, which is our solar plexus, about 2 inches above our belly button. Did you know that?
I have a bigger one than most.
Well, if you close it down energetically, what happens is that the energy still needs to move. So it circulates and circulates and circulates, and it takes our attention from being in the present moment. So we get caught up in, say, a money block, right? We might have something that happened to us where we got in debt, or someone took money from us, or we saw our parents fighting about money. So we close down, and now this energy, instead of in and out and flowing, it gets blocked, and then that's where we as human beings get blocked. And that's where we need to let ourselves open up and let go, because that's the only way to actually heal, is to allow ourselves to be in the process of letting go. And as human beings, there's so many people that hoard things, that they want to keep things, and they're afraid to let it go. When a relationship is ended, they still hold on to it, and they block themselves off from having somebody else new come in their lives because they haven't let go of the past. I remember when I was married before, and one of the first things for me was really important to come from a place of letting go any resentments, any angers, any any things that I need to let go of that relationship so that I could be open and free to bring somebody new in. Because I didn't want to take all that energy of anger, frustration, or disappointment into a new relationship, right?
All right.
So I had to let that go with my former husband, and now it's like anytime I think about him, anytime I think about a movie that we watched together, I just laugh. I think of him with love, and I think of him. I'm grateful for the time that I did have with him. Whereas most people are, F-bomb of a husband, or, that jerk of a wife, or, whatever. And we hold on to, more importantly, the emotions. So if we were cheated on, we hold on to the betrayal, the feeling of betrayal, right? We hold on to that stuff, and it's blocking us from the energy flowing in, but it's also blocking us from opening up to a new relationship.
So how would we go about letting this go?
I love that. That's a great question. I have no idea. No. Again, everything is energy. So the first thing you need to do is you need to allow yourself to, instead of being constricted, you need to allow yourself to be open and feel your body, like even just changing your body stance and feeling your heart starting to open from just an energetic perspective. And if there is some kind of energy that's been blocked there, it's going to show itself. So I always have people go into like their gut area, into the solar plexus area, and that's where our emotions are. Our emotions are pulsating energy, and a lot of times it's stuck there. So if you can go in and just start feeling your stomach, feeling your gut, and then you start feeling the pulsation that's happening in your stomach, what happens is that's a a go light, if you will, for the energy to start releasing. And it takes about 90 seconds to actually process an emotion. So all that anger, if someone's walking around angry all the time, and the way that their anger comes out, it has to come out somehow. It comes out sideways, maybe in rage. Maybe you're driving, you're a very calm person, but you're driving in your car and all of a sudden you're road raging. That's like your energy coming out sideways, right? So if you go into your gut, feel the pulsation. If you start to subtly, it's very subtle, but you have to start paying attention. It's almost like, you could kind of feel your heartbeat. There's a heartbeat. There's a pulsation in your stomach, in your gut. And if you let that start to come out, sometimes people might tear and feel sadness that's been in there. Mm-hmm. You don't have to tell the story about it. You don't have to name it. You don't have to say, oh, well, this is why I'm feeling this. You just have to feel the energy, and it starts the energy to move and drift out so that you can start releasing that stuck in spiral energy. And then just imagine that you're bringing in a higher light and energy into that stomach. So you're replacing the old energy with new energy.
What will I feel? How will I feel physically? Any different?
Yeah, you'll feel open. I always talk about there's, the way I look at success, the way I look at creating whatever it is that you want in your life is there's two things that have to happen because we are non-physical beings. There's part of you, your feeling, your energy that you cannot see, mm-hmm. right? And then there's the physical part of us. So we are both non-physical and physical, mm-hmm. and everything in the universe is energy. We've proven that in quantum physics, modern science. Everything is energy. Everything contains subatomic particles, molecules, atoms, even including our physical bodies. So we have to look at both things, the inner world that we have and the outer world that we have. And when you start to align yourself with better feelings, with more of an open space, you actually start to feel aligned with your higher self.
Physically, will I feel, when I'm starting to let some of this energy go, would I feel drained? Will I feel more energetic? During the process of letting the energy go, how do I know I'm doing it right?
That's a great question. So the feeling of, and it's different for any person.
Mm-hmm.
If someone has been holding, say, anger for mm-hmm. years and years, maybe mm-hmm. 40 years about mm-hmm. something, they might initially feel drained. As they continue to let it go, though, they might, it depends on the person, they might feel energized. They might get better sleep than they had in years because now they're not holding this like a volcano that's ready to explode. So, it's really different for most people. But the thing is that if you keep practicing with that and know that as you open up your mind, as you open up your heart, as you open up your solar plexus and allow the energy to flow in and out, you will start to align with a better feeling. So that's where abundance and success and prosperity and love and freedom, that sense of freedom can flow in and out without getting blocked, right?
Is it something that I would work on every day?
Yeah, because we're human beings. So I have to tell a funny story. I'm going to tell a funny story about the Super Bowl. You okay with that? My husband, Frederick, is in the studio. So you're not going to believe this, Rob, when I tell you this. So I'm not a big sports person. I used to be years ago when mm-hmm. I lived in Chicago, and I was a Cubs fan, and I was a Bears fan, and mm-hmm. and I just don't watch football and baseball and all that anymore. But I always do watch the major games like the Super Bowl. So I decided to sit down and watch the Super Bowl. I was there at 4:00. I first watched them run out. I didn't miss a minute of it, mm-hmm. and I wanted to watch the commercials and everything, right? So there's like less than 2 minutes left in the game. We have to put the boys to bed. Mm-hmm. So we pause the TV, right? Mm-hmm. Go upstairs, put them to bed. Frederick and I sit down, we cuddle on the couch. We're about to watch the last 2 minutes of the football game. Uh-huh. We start to watch it, and the Eagles score, right? So now it's commercial time, and now the Patriots have the ball, mm-hmm. right? So he says, you want me to fast forward through the commercials? And I said, yes. He doesn't push fast forward. Uh-oh. He pushes previous.
Uh-oh.
Uh-huh, uh-oh.
So now you've lost
the game.
You have no idea.
I have no idea who won. I have no idea what happened. I've invested all my time since 4:00 in the afternoon to not know who won the damn game.
Well, so then you get out on your social media and your phone and you know instantly what really happened.
Well, and that's how it happened.
That's what you had to do.
My point is, in that moment, I felt an overwhelming feeling of complete frustration and disappointment.
Right.
So I got up and I took care of myself. I went in the bathroom, I brushed my teeth, I went into my stomach, and into my gut, and I just let all of that frustration, all of that disappointment, just like I felt the energy of it, right? And then about 5 minutes later, I was fine, right? But what happens to most people is they hold on to it, and now every frustration that I could have ever had about my husband for 11 years of being with him, every disappointment, I could have been holding on to it.
And piling on and piling
on. And piling on. So now the mind gets involved. Yeah, he didn't only do that, he did this. And you remember that time? And oh yeah, you remember that time? Yeah. Then it becomes he really disappoints you a lot. He frustrates you a lot, right? But because I remained open and I let the isolated incident be the isolated incident, because that's the feeling I was feeling, it was like, he said to me, do you still love me? And I go, no. After 11 years of marriage, what's going to do it is I missed the football game, which I really don't care about anyway. You know, so it makes, we're human beings. We're supposed to feel our emotions. And our emotions are our guidance system, right? Was that something that was a big deal in the big scheme of things? No. In the moment, it was frustrating.
So what you're saying is feel it and let it go.
Feel it and let it go. It's supposed to literally, as a human being, our purpose here is to, these things called eyes, right? They're actually not projecting out. It's bringing sensory input in. So everything we see, whether it's a video camera, where they're looking outside and we're seeing a building, or we're driving down the road and we see a tree or a bird, you know, it's sensory input. But what happens when we see something, or someone says something, or we hear something that we now constrict, we're not letting just the energy flow in and out. We're supposed to be just experiencing it instead of closing down. And when you see when someone says something hurtful to you and you just go, ouch, right? And process the hurt instead of going, oh, that's it, I'm never going to love again. You know, that's not the way we're supposed to do it as a human being. It's bringing it in and then letting it out. And to my point in the very beginning, when you do that, you still have the memory, you know, not to look for that kind of a guy again, or not to, you know, just because I've now forgiven someone, I'm not going to let that person back in my life that I know hurt me or betrayed me or that isn't trustworthy. I mean, we don't lose our sense of memory, but what we do lose in that process of forgiveness and letting go is we lose the energy that's contained within us that prevents us from living life fully.
So we should forgive, but not forget.
Exactly.
But in not forgetting, don't hold on to that emotion and just churn through it.
Exactly.
Excellent.
Exactly. You got it? Any
I got
questions?
It. I have 50 more, and we're going to do a private session.
I love it. So I wanted to just share a quick story. You know, one of my favorite manifestation stories is I was working as a pharmaceutical rep, and I was looking at all aspects. And this is some question that for the alignment portion of our show is ask yourself, what would I love? You know, what would you love to drive? Where would you love to live? Where would you love to visit? You know, what kind of clothes would you love to wear? What kind of shoes would you love to wear? What kind of interactions would you love with people? What kind of business would you love to have? You know, ask yourself those questions all day, every day. And I started asking myself that question, and what came to me was, back then, I had a company car, so there was no reason for me to even, you know, think about driving a different car. I saw an Audi A4, you know, driving down the road, and I'm
nice
like,
car.
Very nice car. I would love to drive that car, right? So I wrote that on my wish list of things I'd like to be, do, and have, and of the things that I would love. And when you start thinking of those things, if you don't let the thoughts come in of, well, you can't afford that car. How the hell are you going to get that car? What's the purpose of having that car? You have a company car. When you don't let that kind of stuff come in and you just say, oh, wow, that'd be a fun experience. I would enjoy driving a luxury car like that. So that's what I did. And funny enough, the situations and circumstances changed where I didn't have a company car anymore, but I got to choose the car I wanted to buy. I moved from Redding, California to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I got there on a Saturday, and it's like, okay, now I got to look for a car. So I got in my car, not knowing anything about the area. I heard a voice say, go left. All right, so I went left. I'm driving about a mile down the road, and all of a sudden, in front of a Volkswagen dealership, in front of the grass in the front, is this beautiful gray. Gray is, every car I've ever had has been gray or silver. I love silver cars.
Okay.
It's very weird. So I had this beautiful gray Audi A4 convertible sitting on the lawn.
Staring at you.
Staring at me.
Yeah, sure.
So I do a U-ey. I go back in. One of the things that I said was back in the day. This is, 11 years ago. I wanted cassette tape in my car as well as a CD player. So I literally, because I had a lot of my personal development, on
cassettes.
Yeah, on cassettes, right? So instead of having to drive around with a little boom box next to me so I could listen to it, I wanted a cassette tape. So I pull in, and the woman literally dropped the car off an hour before. She got pregnant, can't have the A4 convertible anymore. And in the car was a CD player and a cassette. It was like perfect, right? So I've had this car. That was like, I had nothing in my life at that time. I was just kind of going through a divorce, and this was my big woohoo, that was my big thing. So in a point of letting go, this is what the story is going. My husband and I met. You were asking me earlier how we met. We met at a personal development conference. First words he ever said to me was, "Will you be my partner?" Because we had a partner up for activity. Careful what you say.
That was a smart move. Go to the good-looking girl in the room and say, "Will you be my partner?"
That's how it is, guys.
I don't know that they can hear you. So I said yes, and by the fourth day, we were like ready to, kind of kiss on each other and stuff.
Yeah.
And we had no place to go. He had a roommate. I had a roommate. So imagine a little A4 convertible. He's almost 6 foot tall. The two of us got in the back of this seat, in the back seat.
Where there's a will?
Well, there is. I tell you. But sometimes I would look at the back and go, how did you even fit in there, let alone both of us, right? So our relationship started in the back of that car. Long story short, she's 11 years old. She's old. She's an old girl. And we have to let her go.
Right. But you had memories that are even more than most people have with a vehicle.
Exactly. We drove cross country from Montreal, Canada to Arizona with our babies in the back seat, all cuddled up in the middle of a snowstorm, drove from, Montreal and stopped all along the way to bring our car here in Arizona. And it's been an amazing car to have, but now it's time to let it go.
Right.
And so a lot of times that's where hoarders, they're afraid to let things go because they're afraid that they're not going to be able to get something as good. They're afraid that, oh my gosh, all the memories will be gone. A lot of times people in our society, whether it's a physical thing or an emotional thing, they're afraid to just let it go. And there has to be a sense of trust knowing that, you let this go, something else comes in. And when you manifest something, that's, my manifestation of story of this, all of a sudden this car appearing, everything had to coalesce into that moment for be able to buy it and drive it off the lot. Well, there's a decrystallization process that has to happen. So first and foremost, it's an opening, like we talked about, even with emotions. And it's being grateful for what you had in your life, whether it's a house, a car, a person, and you just let it go, knowing that you still have the memory, my memories of that. I mean, the car is gone, but I still have those memories.
Sure.
But it's the energy attached. I'm not sitting there going, God, I wonder where the car is. I wonder if who else is driving it now.
Are they treating my baby okay?
Exactly. Yeah. It's like that energy is just gone, but I get to hold on to. And so that's one of the things in healing. It's so important to have and learn the process of letting go.
And where do we go to learn that process?
From me.
Boom.
Boom. We just did. We just talked about it. That's the process of letting it go. So
perfect.
Yeah. Awesome.
I love this. Do you mind if I come on your show every time?
Every day. Every time. Ask me any questions. I love it. I love having you here.
I'm going to go do my homework and see what I got to let go. And if you get a call from my wife, I'm not letting her go.
Good.
Okay.
Good. Yeah. So the tips for today is alignment and momentum, right? You need to align yourself with what would I love? What would I love to bring in? But what do I need to also let go? And feel yourself from your mind, from your heart, from your solar plexus. Feel yourself opening up and just like even sitting differently and just allowing breathing in energy and feeling if there is some type of energy there that needs to pulsate out. Feel yourself letting that just go. Right now in this moment, as you're listening to me, just go into your gut and start to feel that energy just leave and then bring in, just calling light to yourself. Imagine light coming down through the top of your head, filling yourself up. That's alignment. And then from that place, what in your life is draining you? What in your life doesn't feel like it's in the same, in the same thing that you want anymore? It could be a relationship. It could be a job. It could be an old car. But if something's not working in your life anymore, don't be afraid to let it go, because as you let this go, you can bring in something new. I always say in order to change a mindset, if you want to become more abundant, you have to let go of lack thoughts. And the new abundant thoughts have to replace those thoughts of lack and limitation or not enoughness or limitation of any kind in order to move into the new. In order to move into the new, you have to let go. So let me know what you're taking away from today. I know, Rob, thank you for this.
You bet. I've enjoyed myself.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me know what you're taking away and what you need to let go. Thanks, everybody.